Hello, hi again, it's Wednesday and I'm your host for today. It's been a pretty depressing week of what I've seen so far, so I'll try and keep it upbeat for you today. Although we do all have our horrible schoolyard trauma. When I was in grade 5, I had to sign a contract with a girl saying that she would stop harassing me if I stopped telling on her for harassing me, which was good. I mean, she didn't stop, of course, and I couldn't tell anyone because that would be in breach of the contract. Let's just say that school wasn't exactly the best phase of our lives. Anyway, upbeat, my most embarrassing moment happened about a month or two ago. I was on the bus to uni, and this bus that I get on, it's like an express to the city, so it gets really full because everyone wants to get on it. I get on at one of the first stops, so I always get a seat on the bus, and there's always people standing in the corridor-y kind of thing up the centre of the bus, like always, to the point where it's so full that it will actually pass bus stops full of people because we just can't fit any more people on it. So in school we were basically taught, especially when we were in our school uniforms, that whenever we were on a bus or in public transport, we had to stand up to let all the adults sit down because we're children and they're adults and we're meant to respect them and all that. And I did that, you know, like that made sense. But I'm not in school anymore, and I'm at uni, but it's kind of different. So many people in my course are like 20, 30, so I don't really class myself as a school child. I'm basically an adult now, so if I can live by myself at this age and not have a problem, and people at my age have children and all of this and have like rent places, and I just feel like I'm not a child. So I decided that I wouldn't stand up anymore. I mean, maybe for like elderly people I would definitely stand up, and like disabled people I would stand up, and people with prams you have to stand up to let them fold the seats up so they can fit the prams and the bus, which is ridiculous, but not the point. So I stuck to my guns this particular day, and a lot of people got on at this one stop. A lot of people, like it made the bus really full, and most of them were maybe like 20, 21. Like you could tell they were really young, and I was like, I'm almost 18, I'm basically almost an adult, right? I shouldn't have to stand up anymore. Like I have as much a right to a seat as these people who are almost as old as I am. So I sat down, and I stayed sitting down, and at that point I realised that everyone in the bus, all the adults around me, were just kind of looking at me really intensely and like with like disappointment in their eyes and all this stuff, and I was sitting there thinking, this is ridiculous. I'm basically an adult. I should be able to sit on a bus when the people standing are basically my age as well. Like, why should I have to stand up now? I'm not a child anymore. So I got really upset, and I stayed there, and I was sitting and I was minding my own business, and the man next to me stood up to let this woman sit down. And I thought, well, that's nice. I mean, she's my age, almost, maybe a bit older. But, I mean, he's a guy and she's a girl. Well, he's a man and she's a woman, older. So, you know, it's nice. It's polite because apparently in our society, women should sit down before men because who knows why. So she sat down, and then she started having a conversation with this guy that let her sit down, and I thought, oh, that's nice. And so I listened to the conversation, being an eavesdropper as I am, and I realised that the woman was pregnant. That was why everyone was looking at me, because I was sitting down, me being 17, and a pregnant woman a foot away from me was made to stand up while the bus was swerving and braking, and I felt really bad. And I suddenly realised that that's why everyone was staring at me, and I felt like a tool. So I was the girl on the bus that didn't stand up for the pregnant lady. I don't like being that girl. I mean, in my defense, she wasn't that noticeably pregnant. Like, I mean, I think it was a compliment to her, if anything, because I didn't realise that she was pregnant. It was just a compliment to how good she actually looked. Yeah, that was embarrassing and awkward, so very awkward, because you're stuck with the same people there. The pregnant lady next to me, who I knew was judging me silently for the rest of the bus ride, which was like 10-15 minutes, so that was pretty awkward. Okay, one more embarrassing moment before I run out of time. In year 8, I etched with a compass, which has a really pointy, sharp metal thing if you don't know what a compass is. I etched Rhianon Rox on the back of my friend's calculator. Rox spelt with an X because that's how grade 8's spell. And I spelt my name wrong. Yeah. That's the end of the story. I spelt my name wrong. And he kept the calculator in his pencil case until senior year, which was 5 years later, and showed it to me every maths lesson. So yeah, that was awkward and embarrassing. In my defense though, my first name alone has 3 N's. We'll see you again on Friday with Natalie, but until then you've been lovely, and I've been bringing you that little bit extra.